talk about hormones for a postpartum woman. And this is something that doesn't get spoken about a lot, but is so important. So a woman is pregnant and then she has all of these pregnancy hormones that are predominantly being ruled by the placenta when she's pregnant. So once a woman gives birth, and it doesn't matter if it's a vaginal birth, cesarean section, once the placenta is removed from the woman's body then needs to take over the hormonal control. And so what happens is a woman who's just given birth has this huge hormonal dump of estrogen and progesterone. And to give you understanding about how large this is, it's on par with a woman who has gone through menopause. So menopause, this process happens over years and years and years. But for a postpartum woman, this happens in a matter of days. So the woman has this huge dump of hormones. And then on top of that, she starts producing all of these lactation hormones as well. So within a week, a woman has gone from pregnancy hormones, all the hormones of labor and birth, and then all of these postnatal hormones as well. Massive, massive changes in the body hormonally that for most other people happens over a period of years. Okay, so this is huge for a woman. On top of that, she's also dealing with any of the physical changes that have happened from birth, any pain, she's learning a new skill, she's learning how to breastfeed, all of these kinds of things. But even just on a hormonal level, this is such a huge week. And so through all of these hormonal changes that are happening, a woman is still producing oxytocin because oxytocin is going to reduce bleeding and help with milk supply and that letdown reflex that happens when a woman breastfeeds her baby. So oxytocin is still really, really important postnatally as well. So we know that normally a woman goes through this huge hormonal change that we've just discussed. And what happens a lot in this day and age is a woman will have this very long drawn out birth experience, and then she will have this really scary traumatic birth, and then she'll have visitors for a few days after birth. And this woman is left her birth experience with no sleep, fear, heaps of adrenaline, and then hasn't had the opportunity postnatally to reduce any of that. And so it's then really obvious why so many women then have problems with breastfeeding, problems with their milk coming in, and they're left on the first week with these really strict breastfeeding plans where they've got to be pumping every 2 or 3 hours, and they've got to be doing top-ups, and they haven't slept at all, and they're having these huge breakdowns. And this is because having a baby and dealing with that huge hormonal change postnatally is hard enough without all of that adrenaline and cortisol, all of those stress hormones blocking the natural process and creating even more problems. So how do we overcome this? How do we intervene and stop this snowballing effect of problem on top of problem on top of problem? Well, when we think about what our adrenal glands, which are the glands that produce cortisol, which is stress, our adrenals love predictability, they love regular meals, they love lots and lots of fluid, lots of water, and they love regular sleep. And all of these things are really hard when you've just had a baby. So we have to be conscious about doing these things and reducing adrenaline. So I say to you, in the first day, from the first day that your baby is born, consciously including in your postnatal planning strategies to reduce adrenaline. Okay, so that might be things from day one, whether you're in the hospital or at home. Have your aromatherapy going. Have regular snacks and meals planned to eat. Lots of water. Having your partner or loved one or support person continue those massages, okay? Dim lights, all of these things that reduce adrenaline need to be continued in that postpartum period. That postpartum period, the space, the energy, the environment around you needs to facilitate oxytocin and reduce adrenaline the same as it did in labor, okay? This includes the people that you invite into this space. So it's really, really exciting to have visitors and have people around. But again, if anyone is going to bring you any stress, now is not the time for them to meet your baby. The bubble around you in this period of time needs to be protected, and you need to actively and consciously do things to reduce stress and adrenaline. Now we know that the consequence of not doing these things is huge. So for a woman who is postpartum and her adrenals are just in overdrive, she is more likely to develop postnatal depression. She's most likely to have milk supply issues. She may even go on to develop things like autoimmune disease, thyroid dysfunction. There's so many consequences that come with women being completely stressed from their birth and postnatal experience. And this is important really early postpartum, but it's important anywhere in your postpartum journey. So how often do we hear about women say, oh, I got to 4 months and then all of my milk dried up and I couldn't continue breastfeeding? Now, this is true. This happens for women. But the reason why it happens is because this woman has had 4 months of sleep deprivation, of not being looked after, of not eating properly. She's completely stressed. Her adrenals are screwed. And maybe by this point, she's having problems with her partner because both of them are exhausted and stressed and overwhelmed. And all of this creates stress, anxiety, and it dries a woman's milk supply up and comes out as a physical manifestation through the body. Okay, so these self-care practices, these conscious planning and decision making around reducing adrenaline and stress in your postpartum journey extends the entire time. Okay, it is so important for women to be nourished, be looked after, and do as much self-care as they can to then be able to care for their babies.